Good morning. Excuse me. I want to talk about something that has been on my mind a lot recently, and it's to do with sexuality and the body and love's role in that, and it's been coming into my awareness for a really long time now that I'm feeling real strong sexual feelings, and it's coming out in my body. So I'm feeling very kind of it's so difficult to describe. This is why exactly why I wanted to do this video, because it's not about the body. It's more to do with the source of that sexual energy and what it really means on a really deep fundamental level. And because I've been feeling like this, it's almost like it feels like I'm being magnetized to God. Like God is finding everything in me throughout my whole life that I've ever really completely loved and connected to. And that feeling of love, that a really strong longing, passion, desire, connection, that strong feeling of wanting to be intimate, wanting to connect, wanting to join. As a child, I felt that very strongly, and I'm pretty sure that I have switched that off, because people have said to me, "Oh, you're going to get hurt. You're going to, if you get so emotionally involved, if you get, if you make yourself vulnerable, and then when you make yourself vulnerable, you're going to get hurt. So then you become afraid of this part of yourself, the part of yourself that is God, and you squash it down. So everything that you've ever really been drawn to because of its quality, because it has something in it, just makes you think, oh, I love this so much. I love it so much. I just love it. I just can't, there's no other way to describe it. I just love it so much. But then you know that bit of you that loves deeply is something that is kind of almost disapproved of in worldview, in you know, in the world. We have to, we're taught to suppress our feelings, these types of feelings, and I strongly think that even as a child as early as 5 or even before, these types of feelings I was getting, where I was really strongly connecting with God, and I remember one instance in school where we listened to some music. We listened to Carnival of the Animals by Saint Saëns, and there's one track on it called The Aquarium, I think, or it's to do with fish. Basically, it's meant to make you think about fish swimming when they're in the water, in deep water, great big shoals of fish. That's what it reminded me of. And we all sat in the classroom. This is when I was 5 years old, and we all sat 2 classes together in one classroom, and we all listened to this music, and it strongly affected me. And after this particular piece of music, one of the teachers of the 2 classes said, and it felt like it was directly aimed at me, please don't involve yourself too emotionally with this. Don't get too involved emotionally. Now, she might not have said those words, but the gist of it was basically the same. So what she meant was, don't escape in the music. Don't tune into it so much that you lose yourself, and that you can't be in awareness where you can concentrate on what we want you to do, which is work. That's how it felt like to me. I mean, that may be a judgment, but it strongly felt that she was disapproving of doing what I was doing, which was connecting wholeheartedly to that piece of music and really feeling it inside my heart. Really, you know, some people maybe will call me an empath, because I feel things so deeply, and I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that comment of not to, because I was doing exactly the opposite of what she thought I was doing, which is to connect with myself, that part of myself that is deeply loving, and this is where the kind of the sexual thing comes in, because really all you're doing when you think a sexual thought is to connect with everything, to join, to merge, to complete yourself. And unfortunately, because sexuality is based in the body, it gets translated in the body, and then we feel ashamed of ourselves because we feel like, well, I shouldn't really be thinking those types of thoughts, because, you know, I'm basically thinking of something that is it's kind of selfish, you know, it's kind of thinking of being pleased or being pleasured in some way for myself. And then we end up feeling guilty and bad about it in some way, that we're basically going to use a person or ourselves to get what we want. But in actual fact, you can never get that feeling, which is the feeling that we're looking for, by looking at it that way, because this is not just gonna have a little breathing now, because I can feel myself getting a little bit triggered by it, but it's not actually what sexuality is in the body. It's one tiny little piece of that whole great big grand puzzle of mystery, and it's just one tiny little aspect of that feeling of utter letting go of yourself, and it's one way we can do it in the body, but in actual fact, every time we're connecting in a loving way, we're thinking about all the things in our lives that make us feel connection with God. It's kind of sexual, because we're joining together we're seeing ourselves as one instead of seeing ourselves as a body that has to get something from another body, which is how we view sex. And that's not how it is for me, and that's never how it's been for me. And I always wondered why it was such a problem for me. It's because I just saw myself as a body trying to get something from another body, and I wasn't ever connecting to that thing that is what it's all for, which is love. Could never bring love into it. It always felt like it's just something I have to do, you know. I have to this is what I have to do as a person. My sexuality is kind of non-existent when I think about it that way, because it just doesn't do anything for me. But when I think about it in terms of what God is, and how I love God and what that connection is and what it does to me, that it magnetizes me, it draws me in with all the things that I love, all the things that I'm so connected to in my life. And Yeshua has been so present with me through these difficult feelings of kind of feeling really sexual and not really being able to translate that in the body. And of course then, because he's so in my life and he's so much part of just my everyday existence, giving me ways to be in this life, on this path, this Christ consciousness path that I'm doing now. I kind of, those feelings kind of transferred onto him. So it's like he's a person, and I started to feel myself kind of feel more intimately connected with him. And how can you do that? He's not in a body. He is just a spirit. And it's just so embarrassing saying this, actually, because it's I'm falling in love with someone who's not a person, who's not in a body. And I think many people would say this. Many people wouldn't admit to it like I'm doing, but I just love him so much that this sexual feeling is kind of going onto him. And he asked me not to be ashamed about it. And he said to me, I just want you to look at it. Just look at it. Go and meditate and stop what you're doing. And just look at it. Don't judge it. Is it really about wanting to have sex with another body? Is that really what it is, that feeling? Is it really me? He said, is it really me? And it isn't about bodies. This feeling is so deep. It's such a deep longing to be intimate, to be who I truly am, which is one with my Creator. To feel that in everyone and everything. And that is a joining. Because to join, to merge, is sexual. It's like a together. When you come together, you be and you create as you truly are. And this I was just so ashamed of this feeling, just so ashamed of it, because it just feels like I want to have sex with Jesus. And just, you know, because I also channel Miriam as well, so Mary Magdalene, her real name is Miriam. I channel her as well, and I just talk to her about it. She's amazing, because she told me her story, where she was at when she, you know, when it was all happening with Yeshua. And she asked me pretty much to do the same thing as what Yeshua asked me to do, and just sit with it, because is it, at the end of the day, is it really to do with having sex with someone else, or with Yeshua, or with someone who you think is what you think they are, and they're gonna be what you want them to be, so you can try and get something from them. The only reason you want to get something from them is because you don't think that you have that already in yourself. And she asked me to look at this, and she's just so amazing, because she's so kind and so loving and so understanding of it. And she said Yeshua is a man like any other man, and as a man he had particular way of being in the world that everybody loved, but it's not the man that everybody's loving. It's not the human being. It's not the it's the translation of God in him. It was so strong, the energy of him. This is the thing that I'm connecting to. This. And he said to me, when you get to the stage where you're joining with me and all of us here that are with you all the time, when you realise that joining is what you are, there will no longer be any lack in you. There will no longer be any feeling that you need to get something from me, because you already have it in you. We are the same. We are the same. I'm not better than you. There's nothing you can get from me that you don't already have in yourself. You have it in you, and all that's happening now is you're seeing that. You're starting to see it in everything. You're starting to connect with that energy that is love in everything, every single thing in life. And it's opening you up, and it's translating in a sexual way in your body, so it makes you feel like you want to join, you want to be intimate, you want to connect on such a deep level, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's how it is. It's God is a creative sexual energy, desiring and creating, and being one with everything. And this is what we do. But because we think we're not good enough, because we think we're less than the person who we want to share with, who we want to spend our lives with, or who we want to have sex with, we think we can get something from them that we don't already have in ourselves. And this is not true. This is not true. And I just want to tell everyone out there, everyone who loves Yeshua like I do, because of what he did, not just because of what he did, but what he's doing now, and how he shows you in yourself that you're the same as him. You're the same. You're equal to him. There's nothing you can get from him that you don't already have in yourself. And when you realize this finally is when we will all be joined as one, and we will all be intimate, we will all be sexual, we will all be totally fulfilling the truth of ourselves, which is to love like he did, you know, and like he does now, like he's doing all the time. He's talking to me every day and, you know, telling me things that are really helpful, and just, you know, telling me things that, you know, quite frankly, often I don't really want to hear, but that's what he does. And he opens your eyes. He helps you to connect to all that you are. He wants you to see that. He wants you to see that you're everything that he is. And it's perfectly okay to see the beauty in him and in Miriam and in all of that family, because that whole family was on this same path that I'm on now. I really have a connection with them, and so much taboo surrounding sexuality, and because we make it something to be afraid of, because we fear that we can't get what we want, which is love. It's only another expression of love. It's innocent. It's just another expression, a very, very small bit of what we are. And, you know, we can choose to express it in so many ways. And loving the self, loving who you are when you have these doubts, when you think, oh, I shouldn't be thinking those types of thoughts, because that's wrong, isn't it? Isn't it wrong to think of Yeshua in a sexual way? But he was a man. He was a man that walked on the earth. And I mean, Miriam told me that there was many men who she was attracted to. Many men. But she said she had the same feelings as me. When Yeshua was going off doing his journey, and because they didn't spend that much time together, had a very unusual relationship. She was doing the work on herself. So she was the same as him. She was the same as him, except she was a woman. And in those days, women were basically like children, treated like children, like you to be seen but not hurt, not, you know, you didn't have any power. So it couldn't be seen that you were doing some of the practices that they used to, Yeshua and his disciples used to do. You couldn't be seen to be part of that because you're a woman. As simple as that. But she told me she did follow all of his teachings and all of the teachings from the ancient mystery schools, and she was the same as him. She changed her consciousness, and while they were apart, she worked on it, and she said she had the same feelings of being overwhelmed by this sexual energy that is God. and it's not to do with trying to get something, being in a body, and it's to do with everything that you are. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be intimate and to join and to connect. And you can do that in so many different ways, not just through having sex with another body, with another person. I'm not trying to put it down or say that it's not sacred, because of course it is when you love somebody and you want to be with them, and it's a beautiful expression of how much you can love them. But all I'm saying is that to not be ashamed of that bit of you that is the creative part that loves deeply, because that is everything that you are. That is your thread connecting you to God. And if you dismiss it, if you push it away or you suppress it, you're basically in denial of who you truly are. You're denying yourself. And this is something that I'm really looking at the moment. I don't want to be in denial of anything. I want to be honest with myself and truthful about everything. I can't always be truthful and honest about these things with my husband, with my family, but I want to be truthful and honest with myself about these things. So important. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. This is like a video blog, like a vlog, as they get called, and I'm sharing things that I think are important, and I think on the spiritual journey it's very important to consider and meditate on your sexuality. It's very, very important. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.